I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right.
Hello everybody, we are back and I wanted to showcase 4 limited edition figures that I did, fully assembled, fully painted. This is Godzilla 1998 and it's been very requested by a lot of people. I'm going to explain why I wasn't offering them painted or assembled at the beginning of me doing all those sets. But now the figures that you see currently are painted based on customer requests. That's how they wanted them. So they requested a cartoon version of Godzilla or the anime version, and a few of them requested a very realistic paint job. So that's the whole idea behind why you see those colors. It's not my choice, it's the choice of the customer. I want to touch a few subjects that there's a lot of confusion and misunderstanding behind all of them. Now this is going to involve my personal take from my experience of printing figures for 5 years. I cannot talk for other content creators / people who dedicate their time to creating monsters, figures, anime, you name it, anything that involves 3D printing and 3D creating. So I get a lot of messages, a lot of questions, and recently one of those messages, I'm not going to disclose obviously the name of the person, but I will tell you exactly what they told me. He said, "What makes you charge so much for those figures? What makes you justify the price point and value behind everything?" He goes on to say, "If it was me, I would charge people $20, at most $50. I currently use FDM printers and I don't see any difference between what you make and what I'm currently doing." Now, here's my thought process, and again, all this is my personal take. Everybody has their own individual workplace and they work differently from what I currently do. So, number 1, quality. Ask yourself this: what type of quality are you offering your customers? Most people currently print within Resin, they print in 4K, maybe 2K, at most 6K. And that's totally fine. Now, here's the catch. When you go to a customer to ask them to 3D print you a set, or somebody who dedicates their time to creating 3D figures, minimum they're going to charge you, I guarantee you, minimum $250 to $300, okay? So take that into consideration. If you don't have a printer and somebody has those types of printers, they're going to at least ask for $100, depending of the figure size and everything that it's needed, or the type of resin that will be used for that individual figure. That also comes into consideration and effect. So just imagine, for the bare minimum, which is the standard 4K resolution, those are the prices. Now imagine me, I'm offering 12K resolution on all print qualities. I'm using very high detail resin and of course flexible resin, tough resin, and I'm charging people the bare minimum of what someone would be asking for a 12K type of quality or above, which is great, because if I was someone else, I would definitely charge people over $200, and trust me, people take their job seriously and you should. Topic number 2, you are charging way too much for 3D files or for figures that you sell. I'm going to give you my take behind why we do that and the price point. 3D sculpting is a skill not many people have. Being able to create anything that you see and bring that into 3D is incredible. It's a talent that requires a lot of time and skill behind everything, putting the exact details, accuracy, especially nowadays that a lot of people are very picky. If a certain monster or creation is not accurate, there's a lot of backlash that you'll get, because people very much care of every single detail. They care if the face is right, if this detail is off. Another very important factor is articulation. Being able to engineer perfect articulation, the ball joints, cutting down the pieces, sections, to make it look very smooth and work to a perfection is a skill not many people have. Just think about it. It's already a big respected skill to be able to sculpt in 3D, but be able to engineer a figure to have articulation and incredible movement, that is a whole nother level. And now I say this because a lot of people judge, and it's easy to judge until you're in somebody else's shoes. Now I remember a long time ago somebody was judging a certain design that we did, and then that person decided to give it a shot at 3D sculpting. Well, guess what? He was bragging about creating Shimu, creating Godzilla, creating so many things, and then he came to me and apologized and told me, you know what? I respect you so much for doing everything that you do. I tried to 3D sculpt, and for the damn of my life, I couldn't do a single thing in 3D sculpting. And I remember he told me, my hat goes off to you and your team. I truly respect everything you guys do now. I now truly understand how difficult this job is, and it's not easy. And I told him, only until you are in somebody else's shoes do you realize how difficult it is to do certain things. It's easy to judge until you actually go through it. So yeah, a lot of people are going to talk smack until you actually do it for yourself, and not everybody has that talent. It's a big talent being able to sculpt. It's a bigger talent to be able to add articulation and 3D print and do all of that. So now we're going to touch the topic, is there a big difference between resin and 3D printing and FDM printers? Totally, there is a huge difference in terms of price point and quality in return. FDM printers are much cheaper than resin 3D printers. Also, the filament is a lot cheaper than it is to buy a bottle of 1K resins or 2K, or depending how many bottles you're going to purchase. There is a huge gap between those, and the price point, it's huge. Filament can go up to $10 at most, $60 to $50, but that is if you are obviously buying the latest of the latest out there, like the newest printers and the newest filaments that are currently in use compared to resin. Resin bottles can go up to $60, $70, $100, $120, $200 in fact. Topic number 2, resin 3D printers are more expensive than FDM printers. You simply cannot achieve the same quality of details that you get from resin 3D printers out of a FDM printer. No matter what brand it is, resin printers will always be on top of the game. They will always give you the best quality, especially if you are using very expensive, top-notch quality resin, which is typically 8K, 4K, 10K resin, high, sharp details. For me, there's a night and day difference when you compare a figure made in FDM printers compared to a figure done in 3D printing resin. There's a huge difference in terms of quality, in terms of sharpness. You simply cannot achieve that with FDM printers, and you can definitely see that right away. FDM printers lose a lot of details, a lot of quality. You see a lot of lines, you see a lot of things that you are not going to typically see with resin printers. So let's move on to the next topic. Why don't any 3D creators like to paint their figures? Why don't they like to assemble any figures? It's such a pain when 3D companies or 3D creators don't do that for the customer. I cannot speak for other creators. I'm only going to speak based on my experience and what I think about it. So number 1, I don't offer any figures assembled because I know customers are not patient. 3D printing is a long process. You have to wash the pieces, you have to cure the pieces and make sure all the pieces are done correctly. Now, from my experience, people are very, very impatient. They keep on messaging me, when is my order gonna be shipped? When is my figure gonna be done? I've been waiting. I want my figure to be shipped right away. So from that experience, I've learned that people are not patient. So just imagine, 3D printing is already a long process. Now for me to individually assemble every single piece would require more time that I don't have a problem with, but customers do. Customers want their figures right away. They want to get what they purchase, and I can understand that. You're very excited, you want to get your figure, but just remember this, you're not the only person. There's a lot of pre-orders that individual creators take. It can go up to 60 pre-orders to 100 pre-orders, 200. So just imagine for a single person to handle over 100 pre-orders, Now, especially Godzilla. This Godzilla that I'm showing right now has over 49 pieces, if not 59 pieces. Now, just imagine this: 100 pre-orders times 59 pieces. You have to individually support them, print them, wait 3 hours, 4 hours, however long your printer takes. And just imagine you're doing 100 pre-orders. That's going to be a lot of time. And especially me, I work day and night. I have my own job besides this. I have my own life. So of course, I'm going to get stressed from all of this. So I've learned that people are not patient. Therefore, I don't offer any assembled figures. Now the other topic comes into play. Why don't creators paint their own figures? Well, it's almost the same explanation. People are not patient. Imagine having to paint 100 heads, 200 heads, especially a full-on figure. That's not easy. So just imagine you have to paint 49 pieces or 59 pieces for a 200 pre-order set, right? That's going to be a lot of pieces. You're going to be printing well over 1,000 pieces for a single person or for a team to do that. We're not companies. We don't have machines doing all the painting, doing all the process for us. We have to do this solo. We have to buy individual parts. We have to buy our own resin. And guess what? If our printers fuck up, we have to pay everything. We have to do everything ourselves, and it's not easy. We're not rich like companies out there. And remember, we have to pay sculptors, we have to pay other people for helping, we have to pay for shipping, extra things. And you also have to remember, not every 3D creator has the talent to paint. That's also a big talent not everybody has. Of course, anybody can give it a shot. You can paint your own figure however you want, but are you going to get the exact same figure that you saw in the movie for Godzilla or the exact same colors? No, that's a whole nother talent that you have to put some respect onto people. People that have that talent, my hat goes off to you, and same for me. I love painting, but I don't showcase my talent that often because it is something that I don't do for other people. I do it personally for myself. And it's also very time consuming. Like I mentioned, you have 100 pre-orders. We don't have that much time. People are not patient. And also, people are going to complain if they don't get a very accurate paint job. Trust me, there are out there people that complain for the most minimum thing, and you don't want that. Therefore, the 3D creator is not going to take that risk and waste the material with the paints, having people return the accessories or whatever they painted for their customers because they're not satisfied. Remember, we're not companies, we're not machines. Everything we do and paint is done by hand. So just imagine, put some respect to people that have the precision to paint eyes, have the talent to do an accurate paint job or anything that you wish. That is a whole nother talent as well. And assembling figures is not easy. It's also a task and a skill that you have to learn yourself. Now, a lot of people were telling me, oh, it looks very easy, I can probably do that. I had a customer that was judging me so hard until he got his Godzilla, and guess what? He messaged me saying, I don't know how you assemble your figures, but now I learn the pain that you go through. It is so difficult. I spent days trying to figure out how to do this elastic string, how to put the pieces together. I just cannot do it. I need help. Please, I'll send the figure back. I'll do whatever just to have you assemble the figure yourself. And I told him, I told you it's not easy. A lot of people like to, say that it is easy, that anybody can do it, but it's not easy. There is a certain way of doing it, and if you don't do it correctly, the figure is simply going to fall apart. Like I told you guys, there's a lot of people that like to judge us. There's a lot of people that don't understand the process behind 3D printing, how expensive, and all the parts that we have to replace. People don't think that after using a 3D printer for so long, the lifespan of that printer goes away. So we have to replace new parts, the LCD screen, the chip inside of the printer. Now for resin 3D printers, it's not just about let me pour in some resin and print. No, 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 no. Guess what? You have to know how to support your figures. If you don't know that, they're going to feel miserable. You have to know your exposure settings for each individual resin. If you don't know that, you're going to be wasting so much money and you're going to mess up your printer, damaging your printer, the LCD screen, leaking resin inside, and you don't want to do that. That's a big no, no, no. So when someone tells me that I'm overpricing things, it's not about that. It's about learning the value and the effort that goes behind doing all that process, which a lot of people don't know how difficult it is until you do it yourself. That's when you truly value and understand what we have to go through, what designers have to go through, what 3D printers, people that manage all that type of thing, painting figures, assembling figures. It's very easy for you to judge until you become that person walking in their shoes. You truly understand the whole thought process. So for me personally, when someone tells me you're overcharging, it's not worth it, I don't see any value, that's okay if that's what you think. But personally for me, I'm offering you the latest quality, the top of the top qualities out there. 12K quality on all prints. The best resin out there, 10K, 8K, flexible, tough resin. I'm offering you my time assembling figures, my knowledge doing that, because it's not easy. There's a method to assembling figures, especially through elastic string. My time as a 3D sculptor, and for my team to offer you full-on figures, because most people do accessories, okay? Most people do accessories, but we're doing it bigger. We're giving you full-on figures with articulation and ball joints. My time painting each individual part with my skills and my equipment, brushes, my paint, and I don't buy just any type of paint. Oh, no, 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 no. I get the most expensive paint out there you can possibly imagine. Some people won't believe me, but I personally believe that I have to give the top quality to my consumers. Give them the best. And if any parts come damaged, please message me. I'll send you a replacement for the first time, but after that, you do have to pay for, replacement parts. But I don't have any problems offering you any replacement for the first time. Okay? So just imagine this. I'm offering you 12K quality for that price point when other creators are not even at that type of quality. They're giving you 4K, 6K, 9K quality, right? And that's great, but they're charging you almost the exact same price that I'm charging you for 12K resolution. Typically, any other big company who runs a team of 20 or 30 people, just message them and ask them how much they'll charge you for a full-on statue or figure that has articulation with over 59 pieces done in 12K quality with top-notch resin. Minimum, you're looking at 300, 350, 400 plus shipping. And I'm doing this for $59 plus shipping. Now remember, it is cheaper for people in the US to ship within the US because obviously it's local. I'm international. Obviously shipping is going to be more expensive. I don't like the shipping rates, obviously, but it is what it is, that's life and that's how life works. So now let's compare prices. Remember, most people in this industry or community are only offering you accessories. Typically, they charge you $10, $15 to $25 for some accessories like heads, hands, tails, ball joints, right? Or maybe a few sets for $30, $39. And you ask yourself, why is this so expensive? Because we're doing what companies are not willing to deliver or actually do within their work environment. And that's why some pieces are expensive, because you are the first person to do it, to produce that figure that hasn't ever been done, because you're doing it differently. You're charging people for your time, your skill, everything that goes behind putting all those details, making sure everything is as smooth as possible and offering them a great product. And you might be asking yourself, why can't it be as cheap as companies? Remember this, companies work very different from us. Companies produce their figures at a cheaper price than what we have to go through. Resin is not cheap for us, as I mentioned. Buying printers is very expensive. So now let's compare a figure from a company and figures that we produce. So a figure from a company can usually run between $50 to $100, $200. Now just imagine a $50 figure compared to a $50 bottle. You see what I'm getting at? If we were to sell them at the exact same price as companies, it would be at a loss. We wouldn't really be getting anything or making just a profit from every single figure. For us to keep going and keep creating figures, it has to be a profit, you know? Because again, you're charging people for your sculpting skill, your time, your 3D engineering, the resin, your printer, assembling the figure, and sometimes even painting, depending of the creator. Again, not all creators offer the same thing. Not all creators buy the exact same printers or resins. Everybody is different. So this is just from my personal experience. There's other creators that definitely offer you cheaper figures, maybe like 20 bucks, 30, 50, $70, and that's okay. But remember, everybody works differently. So judging someone else based on another individual is not okay, because again, personally, I like to offer the best quality. And yes, my printer unfortunately is not working anymore. I tried multiple things. I'm in talks with the company. We tried replacing the LCD screen. We tried replacing multiple parts. And I want to apologize for all my customers waiting just a little bit longer, but it's going to be worth it. Why? Because we're going to soon be upgrading to a new printer. From 12K, we're going to bump it up to 14K. I'm very excited because this printer is promising. It has lightning speed for printing. It has a lot of interesting features that I want to test out, and it's looking very promising. If I can offer the top of the line quality and a lot of features to my customers, I'm going to do it. It's a no-brainer. You guys deserve the very best, and I'm still offering them at a very affordable price, at least to me, when we're talking about, you know, the latest printers, the latest features, the latest resins. It's worth it to me. Now, for people that still do not understand the whole quality between 4K, etc. and all that, think of it as video games or TVs. Imagine you're comparing a old TV from the 80s or 90s and you're comparing it to a flat TV that has 4K. That's exactly what this is about. It's like comparing an old TV, which is the FDM machines, to a 4K or above type of quality on a TV that has more features. That is the difference that you will be seeing. Same thing like for video games. It's like comparing 30 FPS to 60. Yeah, some people might not be able to see the difference, but there is a whole difference between them. It's like comparing an old TV to something that can display 4K resolution, full HD. That is exactly the same thing that applies within this world. FDM printers will never ever achieve the same quality, the same details as resin 3D printers, especially the latest ones, okay? So for people out there charging you cheaper prices, you know, that's good. You know, you do you. If you want to pay for that type of quality, that's okay. But as I mentioned, I want to give my customers the best value, and you know, I might be considering assembling figures from now on. I'm just going to do it because, you know, I feel sorry for people that just cannot do it, and I understand the struggle. It's not easy, and you know, I charge that amount because it is, you know, the figure itself, Godzilla, it has to go through modifications. The creator himself never gave any instructions, and on top of that, I have to modify the figure in person. So I do spend hours. We're talking about 4 hours. Now, a lot of people have told me, please make videos of how you assemble your figures. I don't think people would actually watch them. I don't think people have 4 hours, 5 hours out of their lives to watch me assemble those figures, because that's how much I take. Literally, it takes 5 hours for me to customize and modify the figure itself, because, you know, it's not perfect. There is issues found within that figure that doesn't allow good articulation. So I still have to go in, modify the figure. So that's why I justify those prices that I'm asking for. because it takes me 5 hours to assemble a single figure, modify it. On top of that, putting all the pieces together, painting it takes an hour. And here's the thing, guys, that I want you to understand. It's not that we're scamming people, it's not that we're overcharging. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say that someone is offering you a head for $10. Now, if we were to charge you $10 for a figure that is composed of 40 parts, how much would that be? $10 times 40, that comes out to $400. And we typically sell the files for $40, $30, $50. It might be expensive to people. I understand that. Not everybody has money and some people are going through difficult times. I understand that. But we're also putting in our work, our time, and everything that I talked about. When you look at it from that point of view, in reality, yes, the figure is given to you a lot cheaper because we're not charging you the full on $400 for each individual part, or however you want to, charge your figure. Some figures with articulation are composed of over 50 parts, 20 parts. So for us to give you a figure at $50, I think that's acceptable because you gain access to the files, to all the parts. You can print it as many times as you want, and it has articulation, that's cool. Now, another thing that people mistake the 3D community for is they think it's easy money. A lot of people that have no experience have actually told me, you know what, I'm going to get into 3D printing to make a living out of this. It doesn't work like that, trust me. It's not just about owning a 3D printer. Again, there's talent behind all this. You have to be very smart. You have to know the right people and have the right team behind you. It's not as easy as, hey, let me buy a printer, make money, sell this and that. No, it's not about that. And a lot of people just see it as a profit. Without no passion and love and talent, you're not going to get anywhere, trust me. And unfortunately, the 3D community, especially for Godzilla, does not have a good name within this community. There's a lot of scammers. There's a lot of people that have been forgiven. And, I've been involved in those situations, which I will not name because the past is the past. But I've proven to be innocent, and I've done what I could to help a lot of people. People know what happened, and I've done the right thing. Just know that we're not like that. I'm very responsible, and like I told people, if any parts do come damaged, message me. I'll give you a replacement. We are very responsible. My designer, people involved within my team, we have a passion for all of this. Of course, we want to make so many things, but it's not easy. There is a process behind everything. It takes time to sculpt figures, engineer the articulation, pass this to another teammate, have him do this and that. It's a long process that can take years or a year and months. Please be patient. Like I told people, patience is key to everything. You cannot rush perfection. And if you do rush it, there's going to be a lot of mistakes. Like for us, for our Godzilla, we had to do multiple upgrades to get the articulation done right. We are learning from our mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Everybody's gonna fail at a certain point in their life, but life is about that. Without any failures, you won't get anywhere and you will not learn from your mistakes. So I just let people talk about whatever they have to talk. It doesn't affect me anymore like it used to before. I handle things maturely now from a different point of view alongside my team. And there's a lot of people, trust me, even though there's a lot of love, there's still hate. And it's going to happen to everybody. No matter who you are, there's always going to be love and hate. It doesn't matter if you're doing amazing things. I mean, just look at Mr. Beast, one of the most successful loved persons from around the world, and yet there's a lot of people praising on his downfall. This is how it is. Unfortunately, we have to deal with it, but there's ways of dealing with people like that. The best way is to ignore them, focus on the positive side of life, and keep going, because people are always going to talk until you prove them wrong or until they realize it's not easy. And I've proven people wrong so many times. They've apologized to me personally, and I kept it privately. There's a lot of people that did me dirty from years ago. They've come clean to me, apologized behind the scenes, but it's obviously things that I don't talk about anymore because I like to keep things professional. But yeah, never give up, guys. If you have dreams, make sure that at least you have passion behind it and just keep going forward no matter what people tell you. But yeah, the 3D printing community is a good and a bad place, depending how you see it. But there is responsible people who have a lot of respect and passion for what they do. Support those creators, please, and keep, sharing their work, keep supporting, because the more support that we get, the more, we're going to be motivated to keep things going, and hopefully we can do this. Obviously, there is a risk. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to mention it, but you know exactly what I'm talking about.